Hi, this is Dr. Stephen with Outclick Magazine. Today I want to welcome my dear friend Pennington, who is not only a dear friend, a joy to work with, but he is a talented piano virtuoso. He is bringing an amazing show coming up here in September and October of 2021, but I want to bring him to today's show to talk about his show that's coming up. Pennington, welcome to today's program.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Stephen. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'm very excited about this.
You and I have been friends. We've done some musical things together at the piano and organ, and I've seen your other shows and just been absolutely so impressed. And you're such a joy to work with. Tell us about your musical background, what you want people to know.
Well, thank you very much. My goodness, where do I start? I started at a very young age. I played in public for the first time when I was 8 years old. I became pro at 12 and have worked in every incarnation of music just about that you can think of. And most recently, I worked with an act called Dunlap and Pennington, and we recorded a television special which got picked up on PBS stations around the nation, and we toured nationally at performing arts centers, working with symphonies and working at colleges and universities and performing. And then after we felt like we had done everything we wanted to do with that show, which was quite a large show, we decided to retire the show. And I sat around for a little while and suddenly came up with a new idea for a show. And I'm so excited about it. And that's why we're here.
Now, I know you well enough. You can't sit around on creativity very long until something pushes you to create and merge. And what a great analogy as a pianist. You can't sit on your hands for very long. You now have the Pennington Show and Bedtime Stories from the Piano, which is the subtitle, which has another subtitle. I'm going to let you say it because it's way too long and complicated for me to say.
Yes, it's a really long title, but it's the Pennington Show, just me, a one-man show.
Okay.
Bedtime Stories from the Piano. And yes, I'll be wearing my pajamas. And we invite the audience to wear their pajamas. And the subtitle is Truly Ticklish Tales of Mysteries, Miracles, and Mayhem. And that has a real background to how that came to be. But that's the whole title. The Pennington Show, Bedtime Stories from the Piano, featuring truly ticklish tales of mysteries, miracles, and mayhem. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
The dates are, before I forget, the dates are September 24th and 25th, 2021, in case somebody watches the program next year. October 1st and 2nd, 2021. It's going to be at the United Church of Christ, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 2501 Northeast 30th Street, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33306. Chandler's going to bring up the website. Chandler's helping us in the background. So if he could bring up the website.
Okay.
And tell us about the show. This sounds so much fun. I get to wear my pajamas. Tell us about the show, Pennington.
You get to wear your pajamas. Well, the show started with the idea of doing something that was completely different. I have seen an awful lot of shows in my lifetime and worked in theater since I was very, very young. And I had all of these wonderful experiences that were happening to me. And also to my family members and to friends. Things that aren't supposed to happen, but they do happen. They're out of the realm of normal. They're out of what we would normally call reality. And so I began to collect these stories and put them together in a storyline and wrapping them with music and songs and those kinds of things. So it became a real theater piece. Now, you probably have seen one-man shows where someone gets up and sings a string of songs and maybe tells their life story. This is a little different because there actually is a thread of a thrust, if you will, that goes all the way from the beginning to the end. Now, it may seem at the beginning that it's kind of random, that it's just a little of this and a little of that thrown together and all whipped up into a big cake of an adventure. But as you get to the end, you begin to realize that there's been a message and a theme all the way through it, much like a theatrical piece. And when I first wrote the show, I called up my manager who was in Colorado, and we had a long, long talk. And I said, I've written a new show. And she said, what is it? First thing I said was, it's not what the old show was. The old show was cumbersome to travel with. It required a large truck and a crew and 18 road cases, and we traveled with our own instruments and cameras and all of that sort of thing. This show travels very light because it's a one-man show, and it's me at the piano telling all these wonderful stories. Now, the way that I got into telling stories was actually rather natural. I told stories as a child. I told stories to all of my friends and to my relatives. And sometimes at bedtime, we would tell stories to each other. Sometimes our family would come in and tell us stories. They were scary sometimes. Sometimes they were funny. Sometimes they were just fairy tales. But they were always a part of my life. And then when I got into school, of course, I took some speech classes, and the next thing you know, I wound up winning the all-college competition for speech, telling stories. So that led to, when I was working with Dunlap and Pennington, we would play with symphony orchestras, and often I was invited to give the pre-concert lecture, and that's what I would do. And so it's just always been a natural part of me to share what's going on in my brain, which is kind of a strange place, but it's fun. And so I let all that hang out in the show. So I called my manager and began to explain to her what the show was. And she said, well, I want to hear all the stories. And so we had a 5-hour conversation as we began to talk about what stories were going into the show. And so sometimes she was laughing when the story was funny. And sometimes she was shedding a tear when it was poignant. And sometimes she would say, stop, I'm getting goosebumps. And I realized at that point that the show was doing exactly what I wanted it to do. And then as I shared with various friends the stories, I got the same reactions. So when I say that you'll laugh, you'll cry, your goosebumps will get goosebumps, then I really mean that. That's what the show is about. And it's fun for me. So I weave those together with songs that I personally like. I'm singing some songs. Let's see, I'm doing a song by the Beatles. I'm doing a song by Queen Latifah. I'm doing a song by ABBA. I'm doing a song by, what's that guy's name? You know, the old Elvis Presley, right? Okay. Mahalia Jackson. I'm doing a song by K.D. Lang that she recorded. I'm doing a song by Sarah McLachlan. Just a bunch of stuff that I personally love. And I figure if I love it, then surely the audience is going to enjoy it as well. And so I use my piano skills, my singing skills, and my storytelling skills to weave this whole thing together. When I got finished talking, Stephen, to the manager, I asked her, I said, in all your years of all the shows you've seen and you've booked and you've managed and you've been around, have you ever seen a show like this? And she said, absolutely not. This is the most unique thing I have ever seen. And I said, are you interested in helping promote the show? And she said, not only am I interested, she said, I'm going to give up everything and work with you 100%, exclusively with you. I didn't believe her, but she actually did it. And so now I'm very excited about the show. I think it's going to be something that people simply have not seen before. And I'm going to be in my pajamas.
We did such a fun photo shoot with you. You are this month's cover. I'm going to have Chandler pull that up. And Pennington, one of the things I've enjoyed about our friendship is that you care about people. You are such a tender-hearted person, and I mean that just with the utmost compliment. Is that you? Every time we talk, there's just an amazing connection you have, and you truly care about people. And I hear this message in the show that you created. You want people to have fun with the show. You want them to enjoy it. But at the same time, I hear that there's this connection that you already anticipate with the audience. Now, you had that before because it was so much fun, right. But this is an additional one. Before we get to, I want to tell me about that, and then we'll get to the cover. Tell me about that connection that I hear that I think it sounds like it's going to be so unique for this show coming up.
Well, I think it is too. And the idea behind the show, Stephen, started when I began to understand that weird and odd, strange things were happening. For instance, I've had 2 angel experiences. Now, an angel appeared to me, and they didn't look like an angel. They weren't dressed in a robe and have big fluffy wings, but something was just strange about it. It was just a little off. For instance, one of them simply disappeared in front of me. So that's a little off. Most people don't just disappear in front of you. So at that moment, you realize that you've actually been in a connection that was happening on a, if you will, a spiritual connection. And I'm always careful to draw the line between spirituality and religion. They're not the same thing necessarily, and they can go hand in hand, but I always am careful to draw that line. And the show is not about religion. The show is not, we're not having a church service or anything, but there will be overtones, there will be story thread lines that have a spiritual nature and a connection, as you say. And you know what happened to me, Stephen? I'll tell you where it all started. Back in 1999, I was sitting on a secluded beach in Maui, just minding my own business. There were a bunch of hippie children running around, butt naked, they're little kids running around. And it was a secluded beach, and it was just a beautiful day. I was not smoking anything. I hadn't drank anything. And I wasn't even meditating. I was just sitting there. And suddenly I had a miraculous revelation that was astounding. Literally, things happened that were strange and out of the ordinary. And that had such a profound effect on me, and it changed my life completely. It changed the way I deal with traffic. It changed the way that I deal with surly customer service. It changed everything in my life, that one moment. And it only lasted, I don't know how long it lasted, because honestly, it didn't feel like it lasted a long time. It may have lasted a long time. But that sort of set up a whole series of interesting events that have happened in my life, and I share many of those in the show. I can't share them all because otherwise the show would just become impossibly long. But what has happened is that in that process of becoming something different than what I was earlier in my life, I've just had the wonderful opportunity to meet so many wonderful people, and you mentioned the photo shoot. I just have to tell you, Andy, who did the photographer, did such a great job. And what a nice guy, what a wonderful soul. You can just look right into people and just see that, that it's there. And the writer who wrote the article, John
Hayden.
Hayden, yeah. Hayden, does he pronounce it Hayden or Hayden?
John Hayden.
Hayden, okay, yeah. I'm getting confused with the musical Haydn. There we go. Again, just a wonderful, wonderful person. And just sitting across the table talking to him as we did the interview, it was a delight, to just kind of see the generosity in his soul that was coming out. And that's, of course, half the battle in life is looking past all the seeming reality and seeing the real reality of people. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we have the article up.
Chandler, if you can, Chandler, hit the button down there and make it full screen for us. Yeah. It's such a great, the photos just bring out, we were so excited about the photos. They bring out your personality and your smile. But yes, those kinds of experiences, and that's why we, when working with you and these kinds of connections and encouragement, and this makes me, I wanted to see the show the minute we started talking about it, but the more we've delved into it, the more and more I want to see it, and just, want to bring people to see it, because it's kinds of shows that I think make us be a better person, that help us to impact people. And the last 18 months have been so hard and so challenging on so many people that I don't know when you conceived of this, what you were saying, but the timing of this, I think, is absolutely impeccable for what everyone has been through. To have a show of laughter and encouragement, I think your timing could just absolutely not be better for people that have had the worst 18 months ever. And it's impeccable. It's absolutely impeccable timing to bring this kind of show, Pennington.
Well, and what happened was I had written the show prior to the pandemic. And I had said to my manager, let's find a small little theater, invite in a bunch of theater friends, people who are in the business, invite them in, tell them that we're going to have a roundtable discussion afterwards. This is going to be a focus group, and we'll have donuts and coffee after the show, and then just rip the show to pieces in front of me and just tell me what you liked, what you don't like, what worked, what was funny, what wasn't funny, what was scary, what was eerie. And of course, then the pandemic hit and everything just stopped. And there we were. For many people, life just came to a grinding halt. And so many of my friends who were in theater or in music or had their own show or whatever, their entire life just got canceled in one email. And I know I personally got one of those emails where everything is canceled, is all it said. All shows are canceled. And what a horrible feeling to suddenly realize that everything you've been working on and everything you've been hoping for the future is just down the drain. And so what do you do with yourself then? You're sitting around, you can't go out for a while. It's a pandemic. We don't know what it is. We don't have a vaccine. We're frightened to be out. And so I just thought, well, I have this show. Let me just keep working on it. And so I did. Just kept working. So I changed some of the songs. I changed some of the stories. I tweaked this. I smoothed out that. I just kept ironing the show out, and practicing in my own music room and practicing just to my own one-person audience, and finding things that I thought were funny, finding stories that I thought were apropos for the direction of the thread of truth that runs through this. And we're going to be talking about perception and reality and all kinds of fun things like that in an interesting way that is not like anything I've ever seen before. And that's what makes me excited. I'm biting at the bits to get out there and get this done. I
want to show this video too that's on your website. Maybe the audio will come through. If it doesn't, we'll talk over the video. Okay. But Chandler, if you can go ahead and play the video, we'll see if we can get it to play.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pennington Show. Tonight's episode, Bedtime Stories from the Piano. Please welcome to the stage, Pennington.
1, 2, 3, 4. Night and day, you are the one. You don't live here, you live next door. Hush, little baby, don't. Hush, little baby, don't. To do is play with my ears. Make me leave it came from. Make me leave it came from. Make me leave it came from you. In my life, I've got someone.
So I will admit, I play the piano and the organ. But one, I don't sing, and two, I can't play anything from memory like that. So I will admit I'm jealous that you can A, do both, and B, do both at the same time.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
I am jealous that you can do both at the same time. So.
It is an acquired art, I'll tell you. And people say, oh, you're so blessed. And yes, I've got some musical talent and I'm grateful for that. But the truth of the matter is practice, practice, practice. The old line, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, practice, practice. You put in lots and lots of hours, but I'll tell you a funny story about that. Years and years and years ago, my piano professor came into a piano bar where I was playing. And I was making a few bucks on the side while I was in college. And he came in and he strolled over to the piano and he started chatting with me. And I was playing a song. I think I was playing Ain't Misbehavin', an old Fats Waller tune. And he started this conversation, and I kept talking with him and playing at the same time. And suddenly he realized that I didn't stop playing the piano to talk to him. And he said, "Oh my goodness, you're carrying on a full conversation and you're playing that song at the same time. How do you do that?" I said, "Well, it's just one of those things that you learn to do."
You learn to do. Now, Tom Goss is a friend of mine, and when he came down and did his concert, he said, "Oh, do you want to play the piano with me?" And I said, "Sure." And he pulls out a sheet of paper and was writing the chords and the slashes. Right. And apparently, the look in my eye gave it away. And he looked at me and goes, "You don't have to do this," because I thought I was going to have a panic attack. Trying to follow. And he goes, "Just count the measures." And I said, "Tom, I can't do this." And I said, "If you write it out, if you want to play Bach cantata, I can do that." But it was so interesting how he understands music. And I know you play by music as well, but him playing music and then writing that out, the look of panic, he literally said, "You don't have to do this." Sure. It was so funny. So I so appreciate people who can sit and do that and have that skill set. It's fascinating, when we start to talk about those kinds of things.
I'll tell you what, one of the things that I have been able to do, and I've had the fortune of doing, is to play piano concertos with symphony orchestras and talk about just sheer nerve. Is to be standing backstage and you realize that every member of the orchestra has the entire score in front of them for their part. Mm-hmm. The conductor has the big score with everybody's part, and you're out there with no music at all. Mm-hmm. And that piece is 3 movements long, and you're going to be playing for about 20 or 30 minutes, just totally on memory. And if you mess up, it throws the entire thing off. And there are moments where I'd be standing backstage just in sheer panic of, "Oh my goodness, am I really doing this? Am I really going to walk out there and do it?" But you do, and you get through it, and it's all fine. I remember a great story that Rubinstein told, that when he first started playing, they scheduled him to do a concert in Paris. And he went in and he played the concert, and he was just horrible. He just stumbled all over himself, and he forgot sections, and he put in sections that weren't supposed to be there. And when he got finished, he got a standing ovation. And he thought, that's the way this works. Okay. Yep.
One of the good things about being an organist is that organists almost never memorize music. So it's never expected, thankfully, to memorize music. Yeah. But we're so excited for this concert, and like I said, for the message and the encouragement and the laughter that you're going to bring to people during such a challenging time. I asked this question before and I quit asking it. I'm going to bring it back. Okay. What words of encouragement do you have for people during this time that people have been through such a challenging time? What words of encouragement might you have, Pennington?
One of the things that I've learned, Stephen, is that every single person is completely precious, that we are like jewels, and we are so incredibly loved. And during hard times, I think it's really important to remember just who you are. And who you are is not necessarily the self-concept that we build. We often build up a concept of ourselves that includes, for instance, if I were to give you my self-concept, that I'm 6 foot tall, 6'1", and have blonde hair, extremely blonde hair, and I play piano and I sing and I do certain things. I have a certain personality. I like to consider myself a snappy dresser. These are all self-concepts that I've invented. It isn't necessarily the reality of who I am, and the who I am is something far beyond what we see as a body and the physical. And if we begin to realize that we are something greater, that we are something unlimited, that we are something incredibly precious and wonderful, then I think when hard times come along, we're able to take that in stride, and we're able to just say, you know what? nothing's gonna really hurt me because this isn't really who I am. I'm something so much more wonderful, and it's really about my spirit. It's not about my body. And we can slog through all kinds of stuff when we have that kind of self-confidence that we know who we are in reality.
And you and I have shared some of our personal journeys, and some of the things that you have walked through before make me appreciate even more so what you are doing and who you are today, and still bringing the joys and smiles to people, and having shared some of your personal before. And it makes me appreciate our friendship even more, Pennington.
Well, thank you. I want you to go back to that article. Can we pull that up? Is Chandler around? Can you pull up that article? I want to show the picture of the pajamas.
Yeah, Chandler will bring that up. Pajamas. Who would have thought pajamas in church? But this sounds like a lot of fun. I threw a pajama party once in Lexington. It was the greatest fun ever. So
yeah. Well, and the idea of having the audience. What's funny is that as we book the show in different venues, because we're booking into theaters and that sort of thing as well, and it just so happens that this particular show is at the United Church of Christ. But I've gotten a little pushback sometimes when we're booking the show and I say, oh, invite the audience to wear pajamas. There it is. You can see this is an 18th century men's dressing gown and satin pajamas with extra ruffles, and you can't actually see them, but monogrammed velvet slippers. So I am trying to be noticed, as you can tell. But I thought I might as well have fun with it, and I had this dressing gown built for me by a costumer who builds costumes for an opera company in New York and also in Sarasota. His name is Barney Fitzgerald. He is just a marvelous, wonderful costume designer. So I really have a good time wearing that costume. And you can tell that has changed a little bit from when we did the filming of the show. So the costume has changed. I'm excited about that one too. But we're inviting the audience to wear their pajamas because I think it's fun. And I think being able to go out in public in your pajamas is a little bit naughty, maybe a little sexy. Of course, in my case, it's just overdressed. But anyway, I think it'll be fun. And so people will be showing up, and we're asking people to keep it clean, not to wear their naughty negligee.
But forget it, I'm not coming then. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. It'll be fun, I think.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I am so grateful for all you nice folks at OutClick. Like I mentioned Andy, the photographer, and John, the writer of the article, and you, and I'm so grateful for your sponsorship of the show. That's just meant so much to me. And also, I wanted to say thank you to the Epiphany Theater and Ed Sparrow. They are co-sponsors of this. He has placed this show in his full season, and his help has been invaluable, and we really appreciate that. And all the folks over at the United Church of Christ, they've just been wonderful folks. If I can name them all off, I'll do that, starting, of course, with the minister, Reverend Patrick. And also, let's see, we've got David Dunlap, who's the music director there, and Derek Ryan is head of the board, and Louis Lasitra is part of the gang that's helping us. They've all just been rolling up their sleeves and just working very hard to bring all this together. And so it really feels like it kind of takes a village, and it's been fun putting it all together. And I'm so anxious to get out there and do it. I just can't wait. If you asked me if I'm ready, I was like, I was born ready. Let's go.
Yeah. And I would agree. I want to add my personal endorsement to United Church of Christ. They are such a fabulous church and organization. Their ministry and their work for our community, Reverend Patrick, for all that he does tirelessly. They are just phenomenal people. And if you're looking for a church home, whether you are straight, LGBT, whatever you identify with, they are welcoming to everyone. The music, the message, everyone is phenomenal, and their ministry is amazing. And I just want to say, we are so supportive of United Church of Christ and everything that they do. And they have kept the lights on during the pandemic and made it through. And just kudos and congratulations to them for doing the Lord's work out there at the church.
And you know what else we should mention, and that is that this is also a fundraiser for them for their Christmas special. They are working on raising money to have a Christmas with an orchestra, and that should be a really exciting event that the music director David Dunlap is working on. And so, to that end, when you come to the show, there's other fun things besides just wearing your pajamas. And I understand that there's a refreshment tent with alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. And they are also doing a raffle. And so they've got some fun things like that. And tickets for the show are both general admission, $20 for general admission.
Chandler, pull that website up because I want to show the tickets while you're saying that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. And did I get ahead of you? I'm sorry.
No. I just want Chandler to pull the website up while you're giving that information. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So we have general admission tickets for $20. And then we also have every night and every matinee, we have VIP seats. And what they've done is they've put in cabaret tables, and the VIP is actually in the champagne VIP dress circle, and they put cabaret tables right up front. It is in the sanctuary of the church, so it seats about 300. It's an intimate space. During COVID, they've cut that number back to about 150. But the VIP seats are right up front, and you get champagne, and you're so close that you can throw spitballs at me if you want, And,
now, does it include an autographed copy of Outclick magazine? That's probably the most important question.
That's a great idea. I think we should do that.
Throw that in. There you go. That'll be the ticket seller.
Yes. We'll have to do that. Now, you have to hurry if you want the VIP tickets because there are only 32 available per performance. And you mentioned the performance times. I'll just go ahead and say on Friday night, the 24th at 7:00, and then on the 25th on Saturday, we have a matinee at 3, and then also an evening performance at 7. And then the following weekend, the same schedule on October 1st and 2nd, a Friday night at 7, and then the Saturday has a matinee and an evening show at 7:00.
Okay. And again, the dates are September 24th and 25th, 2021, October 1st and October 2nd, 2021. Did I get those correct?
You did. You did a great job.
United Church of Christ, Fort Lauderdale. That's here, 2501 Northeast 30th Street, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And your website is, Chandler, if you can put up the website, penningtonshow.com, and that's the information and the ticket links and everything. Is that correct?
Everything is there. You get to learn a little bit about me, and there's some photographs, and there is also information about the show so that you know where it is, what times they are, and there's a link with a countdown clock ticking away the hours before the show starts. And you just hit that button, it'll take you right to the ticketing site, and you can select your tickets and get them. And then it's Eventbrite, so I think you can put your tickets on your phone, or you can print them out, like any other ticket service.
Yeah. Cool. Well, it's been a joy to talk to you. I didn't expect anything less. My last question I always ask is there anything you wanted to cover I didn't ask?
We were talking about tickets, and something that we forgot to mention, and that is if you belong to an organization, a bowling league or a bridge club or anything like that, or maybe you sing in a choir, and you would like to come as a group, all you need to do is, again, just look at the website, and there is a phone number for group tickets, and that kicks in, if you have 20 or more people in a group, that kicks in a discount on the tickets. So
phenomenal. Well,
other than that, just lots of gratitude and love and good wishes, just throwing them all your way. And we want to say thanks to Chandler, who's been helping out on this and doing a fine job over there. So thank you, Chandler.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And I, like I said, I've seen you play in churches and concerts, and I know you're phenomenal. But as a person, that's why I go see performers. I like to see them as a person perform and be successful. So we're excited for the show. And I just realized how apropos that people will be in their pajamas, because we've spent the last 18 months sitting around in our pajamas. How apropos. I just realized that. You did that without planning. So, and again, it's PenningtonShow.com. So get your tickets and get your pajamas. Run down to the Target or the Amazon and get your pajamas. If you want to follow us, we are outclick.com. That is OUTCLIQUE.com. Or if you want to jump on our mailing list, you can text. Pull that up there. OCQ to 22828 to stay updated. Again, we look forward to the show. Everyone stay safe and have a great rest of 2021. Have a good night.